Say, don't they, that, well, it's a long time in politics. We're talking a week. A week is a long time in anything now because what's in, what's out, etc. And I don't know about you chums, but I blame this really on the world of social media. We're all distracted by the latest story, you know, the sort of thing. A couple of days ago, I've told you, of course, about Angela Rayner wanting to have the banter police looking at you in pubs and bars and restaurants to see, or workplaces, to see if you're saying anything untoward. Meanwhile, what she was really trying to do was to distract away from the ongoing junior doctors strike. They like to be now called resident doctors. And this is after being given a whopping pay rise the moment that, of course, Labour went into power. This is the shambolic scene we're now under over here in the United Kingdom. But let's not forget, just under a year ago, the likes of these people, Sir Elton John. Oh yes, Sir Elton John, who's always referred to, and I just think this is really, really lame, because they'll say Sir Elton John and his husband, David Furnish. You might as well just say bag carrier, you know, this sort of glassware, box holder or whatever. I mean, what exactly does David Furnish do? He's had a bash at a few movies, but really, he is just kind of like a borderline carer, let's be blunt. You know, whichever way you look at it. Not knocking it, he's had a lovely life out of it, but the bottom line is, David Furnish and husband decided to sit down and lecture the great British public, of course, about how we, oh yes, just under a year ago, should be voting for change. And the only person that could bring that change was none other than the Right Honourable Sir Keir Starmer. And guess what? Then he got in. And like so many other stars of that particular ilk, Beverly Knight, Sally Lindsay, you know, the actor James Norton, all of that sort of stuff. Oh, they were all marvellous. Couldn't believe it, you know. Remember over on Sky News, the jubilation in the studio about exactly how people were thrilled. Fast forward a year, well, this has now happened right in front of royal eyes too. Let me explain. Morning, nice to see you chums. Thank you so much for joining me today. Lovely to have your company. And as ever, do take care of yourselves, what you're doing. And just let you know, because I know you like to know this, here in Kensington right now, it's very, very humid. It's really still as well. Have you noticed that? It's just really quiet. But I think we're going to either have a torrential downpour or, of course, blazing sunshine. Which would you prefer? Let's roll the dice and decide. But you know what I mean? You can just tell when you're standing here, you think, ooh, it's very warm. You know, lovely though, because as I've often said here on the show, in a few months' time, I'll be standing here in my coat saying to you, oh, freezing. Yes, but this is the thing. It's frozen. Oh, we haven't had a wave. Oh, it's frozen over. Let me tell you, the relationship over in Buckingham Palace the other night was just delightful to watch, right? Because this was the state banquet for Emmanuel Macron, right? And what was interesting about this was, you know, I mean, the whole sort of, you know, showmanship to me is delightful. But what was interesting was the fact that we had celebrities there like Mick Jagger alongside, I believe, his new squeeze. I'm not quite sure how old that one is, but Mick Jagger alongside his new girlfriend. And then we had some notable people, you know, footballers and things like that. But sitting there was none other than Sir Elton John with husband David Furnish, right? Now, what was interesting about this was, from an excellent source, at this particular point, and this is where it gets interesting, right? Because you see, this is where royal protocol is fascinating. They decide who's going to sit next to the king, or, you know, Catherine or William or whatever, you know. Now, it was suggested that, you know, Sir Elton John, and as ever, we have to say allegedly, could sit next to the current British Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer. But apparently, no, that wasn't, no, wouldn't be accepted, no. Now, basically, it looks like Elton's gone, well, he's, you know, blown his wig on this one because he's not happy with the direction that apparently the government are now going in. And so consequently, that relationship, despite the fact that he played at the party for them and was ready to hook him at any opportunity, well, it's cooled. But they don't necessarily want you to know that. I'm just sharing this with you as chumps. So you see what I'm saying about celebrities? The moment that they change their mind, even though they've made a whopping great mess of it for you and I, we're supposed to say, oh, it's all right. Yeah, you just carry on having that very expensive dinner. So you know that now. The other thing you may notice as well, which is fascinating, is really, some might say, standards have dropped inside the royal household, because the place cards, which are fascinating to read in itself, well, the one for, of course, the First Lady, lady, whatever you want to call her, the wife of President Macron, basically said Brigitte Macron. It actually should say, by real royal protocol, Mrs. Emmanuel Macron, right? So either they're still having an argument, still fisticuffs, but one way or another, she got her own name on the card and not his. Make of that, chums, what you will. Neil Sean, Kensington, London.